Hello, hello. This is Proud Chocolate. Long time no see with reasons. I apologize to my followers, my subscribers, each and every loyal person out there. Sorry that I've been so much away. It's just business and reality business, you know.
Number one Kenya mzima, East Africa, mambo ni hapa, kila kitu ni tamu zaidi.
So anyway, I only come here when I really have something to tell you. So yesterday, the 6th of March 2013, I attended the shortest, the simplest funeral ever here in Germany. The reason why I felt like I have to share this with you guys is because, one, I am African and I know that we have traditions and values and we have a system in the way we go about our funerals. But also on the other side, being 2019, I have watched and observed and noticed that you're wasting a lot of money on funerals. And this is something that I don't want to happen on my funeral, myself. And this I'm saying publicly. If I ever die, I don't want people to waste money on my funeral. You better waste money or give as much money as you want while I'm still alive to help me maybe stay, or to help my children, or to help the people who can gain from a few things that I have, than to waste money on my funeral. So, straight to the point, so we have a short video. A very close person to me died, and the person died not very long ago, on the 1st of January 2019. That was a day when people were very busy, actually. So, it was a very old person. So, he was in a nursing home, and of course, his family already knew, after questioning him, already knew how he wanted his funeral to be. So, what I gathered after asking a few questions between the time the guy was about to die until now, is that the Germans I'm around are the kind of people who live with reality. They have learned to notice when somebody is on the route to death. Whether you are carrying cancer, or you got an accident, or it's just old age or wherever. They know when to stop, they know when to start another thing, and they know when to use money and when not to use money. So this is a person who even himself knew very well. There's no other way. There's nothing he has not done in this world that he's going to do ahead that would make him be saved, okay? So he used to live with his wife in his house, and he was actually 90 years old, but looking very young and active, could still drive. And the wife was 85. The wife is still alive. And but the wife didn't want anybody to come to their house to help them out, okay? Normally, if you're old and you don't want to go to a nursing home and you have the money, you can opt for, we call it here ambulante pflege. Ambulante pflege is like a nurse comes to your house every day at such and such a time, helps you out with maybe showering, cooking, doing a few things that you can't do yourself, and then they go away. But the wife of this guy never wanted anybody to come into their house. So it was a problem because the guy was 90 already, and he needed to be around somebody stable, somebody who is strong enough to help them around. So because the wife didn't want anybody to come to their house except family to visit them and go, his family opted that he goes to a nursing home. So this nursing home, he went once and didn't like it, and then went back home and tried to convince the wife about having somebody to help them, a nurse or maybe a maid to help them out. But because the wife insisted it can't happen, the government had to do something about it. So there's a day he was driving, and then he lost his memory. So his wife was waiting for him in the house, and he was not coming. So later on, the wife called his son, and his son, meaning this is a couple that came together after their own wife and husband died. So this was a new couple, you know. Yeah, everybody had their children. So the wife called the son of this guy and asked him whether he knew where the son was, because he left the father was, because he left in the morning and had not returned. So everybody got worried. So they called the police, and the police started a search. And at last they noticed his car in a forest, somewhere around the forest. So at that point, the police of course went and got him, but took away his driving license and told him his age had reached a point where he cannot drive himself. So at that point, at 91 years old, his driving license was taken away from him. This is something that happens in Germany. At a certain age you reach, and there's no, when the police or the people concerned see that you have no, you have nothing to lose by giving away your driving license, because there's nowhere you're going anymore anyway. You don't have to go to work, you're retired, you are old. Then they take away your driving license. As long as they know that where you live, you'll have a mode of transport. At least there's somebody who can come and pick you up and take you to the doctor, or you're around public transport. They will take away your license. So this old man's license was taken away. I must say I'm lucky at that point. He gave me his car, okay? So when you really don't have your driving license and you have cars there, which are actually registered and everything is okay with them, and you can't drive them, you give them to people that you feel are capable of taking care of them. So I was one of the lucky people. Got me some small Mazda out there, a small one, enough for me, and that's my memory with him. That is what actually made me to go to his funeral yesterday, because I felt I was close. So then, a few days later, he fell off his staircases in the house. And because again, there was nobody to help them, when the ambulance came to pick them, he was told that he cannot go back to his house again, because now his wife doesn't want anybody to help them, and he's reached an age where he cannot even go upstairs to their house. That is why I also want to remind us, the young ones who are still around, who are taking care of our parents, when you're building your mother a house, or your father a house, or your auntie a house, us who are under pressure to build our families' houses, don't compete with those you are seeing building very big mansions, where on builders and whatever, these groups that we see on Facebook, okay? Watch, but also think. If you're building your mom a house, build them a house thinking about their future, because there's going to reach a point when you're not around, there's nobody that can stay with them. Their mates keep disappearing. The people who can help them keep coming and stealing and going away. And then she cannot go upstairs in this house you built for her. She cannot go nowhere. So it's better you build them a bungalow, some, one-story house where they can move from left to right with less stairs, so they can, when they reach a point when they can sit on a wheelchair, they can just ride themselves inside the house. Give them spaces on the door. Don't overfill your mother's house or your father's house with furniture that would deter them from moving around freely while you're away. So always think of that. Don't compete with others when it comes to building your parents' homes. Just make sure you think about the future of your parents. So this old couple here, in Germany, people live just in one place, okay? We don't have like the privilege or the blessing that we have in Africa of having like even 3 homes, in the city, somewhere else, and then in the village. Because in Germany, when you die, there are very simple ways of getting rid of you, okay? Very simple ways, very many simple ways. We have graves, we have the sea, and we have forests. We have all those. So they don't see no need of having like to move somebody from a city to a village. Secondly, in Germany, it's not allowed to bury anybody in the garden. Like as Africans, we waste a lot of land that we could give to our sons and our daughters and our nieces and nephews to have something that makes sense on them. We spend a lot of parts of our small lands that we have making graveyards out of them. And at the end of the day, it's the family who are going to suffer anyway, with all those bodies around. And, we don't set our people free. If you're buried fully in a casket, like in a cemetery, then your family will have to take the task of making sure that cemetery of yours, that part of the cemetery that you're buried in, is well taken care of, well cleaned, flowers always fresh, and everything, okay? So it's a lot of work. And you also have to pay a fee always. I don't know whether it's yearly or monthly, but there's a fee that your family or the people who have been left behind to take care of your grave have to pay all the time. So if your family cannot go there to make sure that there are no weeds on your grave and there are no it's not looking bad, then you have to employ or to give the contract to a gardener who has to be paid and has to go to your grave every time, every month or every 2 months or every year, to make sure that there are fresh flowers there, to make sure that it's well taken care of, and to make sure that it's according to the laws of the graveyards in Germany. And when time comes when you can't afford that grave anymore, or your children that you left behind maybe can't afford your grave anymore, then they have to report that, they have to pay some money, and then your grave has to be aufgelöst. Like, aufgelöst means it has to be put back to normal. It has to be sold again. That space has to be sold, because graves are very few, graveyards are very few here, and many people want them. So if you find somebody who is not taking care of their own grave, then it must be sold. So that is why you have to make the right choice. Sana, if you are a diasporan and you opt to be buried in Germany, then you have to think of your people, because there's a whole lot of assignment that you're going to leave behind. It's not like in Kenya or in Africa where you die and then you're buried at your home, at your graveyard, family graveyard, and then life goes on. Here, everything has a law, and they say human waste is not to be thrown anywhere. There's a particular place that you have to be buried at, and it has to be taken care of, and it has to be paid for. Okay? That is why it's very, very easy to just go ahead and maybe donate your organs in advance. I mean, to have that letter so that they release your inside, and then after that, they burn you up and make it lighter for your family or your loved ones around you to have it easy moving you around. So even if you want to send your ash home so that your family can now bury them in the garden in a small space, then it's okay. It's very expensive to be buried in public. So the guy ended up in an old people's home, and he was refused to go back to his house. They said his age had reached a point where he cannot go back to his house. So that day when he fell on his stairs, he wasn't allowed to go back again to his house. So he's stuck in the nursing home, which was very painful, because this is an old engineer, a person who worked all his life until he was, I think, 75 or 78. He was still studying, doing masters, and had all those things, His house that he was now being denied or being not being allowed to go to was a mansion with 3 floors, and what for? What for? So all these things frustrated him. So anyway, his sons, being told that their father can never go back to his house again, not even for Christmas or even for Easter, they started planning for his death. So Germans don't fear, they just face they call a spade a spade. And they were even saying, from what I was hearing, that it's a good idea for him to be in the nursing home, because being at home only makes him more sad, more sick, and wastes just time, because he is old. He will never go back to work again. He'll never get babies again. He'll never become young again. The next step is death. So however much he looks fit, if he can't drive, he can't live alone, the only plan they can now do with him is death. And the easiest way for them to die, for these old people to die, like these Germans were saying, is to take them to nursing home, because there they get frustrated and they die slowly. And even the people who are taking care of them in those nursing homes, they know how to watch and see who has reached a status of now going towards death, So all this time the guy was in the nursing home, which just took, I think he was only there for 4 months only, he got more and more frustrated, and the only thing he wished for was death. So anytime I would ask his family, how do you feel about him? Why don't you just pick him and bring him to your houses or what? He doesn't want to go back to his old house, the one that he used to live in before he married that other lady. Why? Because his son married a woman that he doesn't like, and so they can never come to terms. Secondly, he cannot go back to his own house where his wife is because his wife doesn't want any help, and the wife is also old. Thirdly, we cannot take him to a better nursing home close to us as his family now, because he left us this way and went to live with his girlfriend, his new wife or girlfriend, and so they have to put him in a nursing home that is close to his wife, okay, or his girlfriend, so that the old lady can be coming to see him at least once in a while without having to travel so much. So the only nursing home that was around that place was some very shoddy nursing home, okay. For Africans, it should be, of course, luxury, but for here, if you're in Germany, you see how some nursing homes are very nice. And for a person who has money, because the guy had money, it was sad that he was there. So from a mansion into a room, one room with one bed, one television, a small cupboard, okay, and just a few clothes in there because they're not allowed to come with many things. What for? They are going to die. Once you enter that room, the only thing you do is to sleep, wake up, go to the dining room, look out of the window, and just wait for your death. Nothing much. Watch news, and that's it. They only sleep, get frustrated, and just wait for death. So it went on and went on and went on like that. And then, just to fast forward, on Christmas Day, I remember I visited this guy a few weeks before Christmas. And he asked me that, by the way, are you celebrating Christmas with us, with me and my family? And I said, I don't think so because I'm going to Kenya for holiday. And he was like, oh no, you're the only one who convinces these guys for me. So please try and talk to my daughters and my sons to make sure they pick me up from this place. I don't want to have Christmas in this home. They should drive me out and take me to their homes or to my old home so I can have Christmas and come back. But when I communicated this message to his people, they were like, no, it can't happen because he's not allowed to leave the home. So this guy just kept waiting for this Christmas Day. So when Christmas came and nobody came, because on Christmas Day, everybody was celebrating with their small families. So they had to meet him on the 26th. That is when Germans have free. Normally here in Germany, they celebrate Christmas on 24th in the evening. And then throughout the night, and then on 25th is some family, a calm day, just calm. People stay within their households and they just go for a walk around. And then big family, extended family meets one another on the 26th. So that is when the whole of his family went to the nursing home to celebrate Christmas with him. And he looked very sad. I was not there. I only saw the photos. But he looked very, very sad. And people who are experienced with this death thing here, they say that normally such people wait until they have their whole family together, and then after that they just die. So anyway, he looked like he was going to die, but he was still fit. So then 27, 28, on 1st of January, when people woke up on 1st of January 2019, a message came, news from that place, from his nursing home, that he had died. But what I was trying to tell you is, before he died, I witnessed a meeting between his children. And he was actually very fit at that point, according to me. And I was actually thinking of making some photos for him, of myself, to take to him on my next visit. Because he asked me for some photos. So he wanted some photos from everybody that he loves, so he can put in his room and just look at them. So I was planning to go to the studio and do a nice photo. But on that same day, I wanted to go and do a photo for him. His family met, and I just heard them discussing how to bury him, and he was still alive. So I was like, why are people talking about somebody's burial before he even thinks of death? And then the main reason why he's in that home is to speed his death. And secondly, we have to know how he wants to be buried, and we have to speak to one another to know if he told somebody else something else, so that we don't mess up with his soul and his wishes. Then they came to they came to a conclusion that he wanted to be buried where? To be buried in the sea. So me, I was like, hey, this is scary, I can't. So I didn't even go to take those photos anyway, because at this point I thought, what's the reason? Why should I go looking at him next time, taking him my photo? And I've already heard of how they're planning his burial. So anyway, he died. He died on the 1st of this year. And immediately he died. When your people die here in Germany, not everybody can just go and touch him and people screaming around. No. A message is sent, and then the family goes and they have some hours with him on his bed where he has died. Exactly there. They leave him there for some hours, maybe 6-7 hours, so that his whole family comes and sees him when he's still freshly dead. Because they believe that his ears are still listening, okay? They can still get some things from him even at that point that he has died. They can still talk to him and maybe still see some movements on him, on what he wants. So they went and they spent time with him. Then a licensed person, they're called the Starter. They came and picked him up and took him for, preparations, okay? So they took him for preparations, and then after just 2 days later, he was already in a chapel, in a casket, in a chapel, really looking good, just sleeping, and the whole family now, plus those who had not come to see him on his deathbed, were now told to come and talk to him for the last, and and just have time with him before now the chapel is closed. His chapel is closed. So they took him to a chapel, and that day, half the day, he was put in a room there, and anybody who wanted to still talk to him and tell him some nice things and just, you go to that room and talk to him. So he's lying there, sleeping. The casket is all open. Not like we do in Africa, you just look at somebody on the glass like this. No, it's completely open. The guy is lying fully to the end. Everything he loved, his rings are on his fingers. Like this guy liked Kichanu, a comb. He liked combing his hair. The last months of his life, he was only spending time combing his hair. So his combs were put on his pocket. Everything he loved. And then after that, when everybody had finished with him, they closed the casket and sent it to, what do you call it, cremation? Burning? So at cremation, the family is not allowed there. Only the one person who is trusted, like maybe the first son or wherever, one person can go, but otherwise nobody else. And then they put the whole casket, now I had this from the person who was there. They put the whole casket in fire, like the Wahindi do it, and then it burns down completely. That is what he wanted. He wanted to be burnt. So it's not like everybody is burnt, but here you're given a choice, and this choice you make it as early as possible. You make this choice as early as possible so that your family knows, your lawyer knows, and everybody who will stand there for you knows. So the guy was cremated, and at last the casket burnt, and then his body burnt, and then only bones remained. Bones don't burn, okay? The bones remained. And these bones were crushed in a machine, and then a part of the bones, these crushed bones, were placed in a can. We call it here onen. I want to show you that one, so you know. Where is the photo? Let me show you a photo of what I took of yesterday, because I was actually impressed, but I was shocked. I don't know whether you can see this, but that is it. This is it. This can. It is made out of clay, and it's just painted. It just looks painted, but it's made out of clay, okay? This is clay. So once it's put in the sea, it just opens up and melts out. So inside here were his bones, crushed bones, okay? They call it here ash, but it's not the ash. It's not the ash that people think. They say his ash, okay, from the burning, but normally it's not ash. Yeah, some people prefer to take the ash, of course, but if you really love your person, you take the crushed bones, just a little bit, not too much. It's not like it was full. It wasn't full. And you know who was carrying this thing? Very simple. So once it's crushed, the person who is leading the family in this morning goes to pick up this thing here, this on. You pick it up. This is how it was carried, in a bag. You won't believe this is somebody's body inside here. Okay? This is let me just look at another photo here. It's in there. This is his grandson carrying it. That is his grandson, a German Mzungu. You know, I was taking this because I wanted to share with you, and I asked for permission, and I was shocked. And I was telling them about how we do our own funerals, and they were like, "You poor crazy." So this is how they do it here. So the grandson was carrying. So this grandson of his is the son of the first son. So immediately they burnt him. They burnt him in January, okay? Immediately in January. So then you go with that thing, or maybe they give it to you there. I don't know, but I didn't ask about that. But they put for you in there. Then you can go with it at home. So that thing had been in this boy's house the whole time, because they had to look for a time now, a moment where the whole family have time, okay? Because sometimes you want to bury him tomorrow, and some people are working, they have not gotten free from their bosses. Some people travel, some people are on holiday, you know. So once the body is burnt and that issue is done with, then you're allowed to keep that ash, that thing with the crushed bone inside of it, or ash, whatever, in your house. Whoever wants to keep in their house, until you get that day when the whole family is there for the burial. So yesterday was the day for this burial. Now that was now March, and the whole family was there, and friends, very few friends who wanted to come, but mostly just family. I was one of the friends who were there, and they made an appointment with Seebestatter. In English, I don't know how to say that, but people who bury in the sea. If you want to bury your person in the sea, there are people who have the license to bury in the sea. That's somebody who can drive a ship or a boat, because it has to be a big boat to carry the whole family. And then you have to drive a few meters away from the boundary of the country to no man's land, okay? The sea also has no man's land, because you just can't go pour somebody's ash anywhere where fishermen will come and fish it out and wherever. No. So you have to plan with that person, with these people. And we went to the east, to the Baltic Sea. That was yesterday. And at that point, at the sea, at the port, there are many ships, okay? And all the ships were written Farewell 1, Farewell 2. And I was like, how do you name your beautiful ship Farewell? And then they told us that is their business, and they travel from the port to no man's land every 90 minutes. So every 90 minutes, somebody is going to get buried. Every 90 minutes, somebody is going to get buried. So once the other one comes back, another ship takes off with another family. So inside this ship, it's a tradition. They will give you coffee and cake. Okay, that's the celebration. There's nothing like killing a lot of goats and cows like we do in Africa, slaughtering I don't know how many cows. Now, it's only coffee and cake. Me, I refused to take the cake, so I just took my tea. You can see here. This is my cup of tea, and the rest of the people were taking apple cake, then trays, and then you just serve with coffee, okay? And while we were doing that, the dead body was just there, standing there at a corner, okay? It was, these metals are covering it because we are in a boat, and so when the ship is going this way, it doesn't pour. Okay, then after taking coffee and tea, then coffee and cake, or tea and cake, then they choose a song to sing if you want to. If you don't want, you don't have to. And then the pastor, who is also the captain, says a few words. He allowed me to take a photo of him, but I'll not show really his face. So that is the captain. You can see his suit there. Now he's praying for the body, for the ash in there. We are about to go out and put it in the sea, okay? All this time, the other captain is sailing the ship. And then we got to the ocean. That is the water you can see, the ocean. And when we got to the ocean, the guy just let in this thing with this what do you call this? It's a makamba, okay? Just put it in, and then after that we were allowed to throw some flowers. So these flowers here, the roses had been already prepared, And so once it's in the water, we throw flowers to go with it. Okay? So the whole funeral just took 60 minutes, maybe just 1 hour, the whole driving from the port to the middle of the sea, praying, leaving that thing in, the people mourning, sending the flowers, wishing him well. But what I really felt about it and what really touched me was the freedom. The freedom. The freedom, you feel it. Not just that person that is being released into the sea is feeling that freedom, but even you. So I asked a few questions. I was allowed to ask questions because I was the only black there, and I was looking and watching, and my camera was all over, and I couldn't just resist. And they told me that in the Bible it's written that, until death do us apart, okay? Once somebody has died in this life, they have nothing to do with you again, because you're only attached to them until they die. So you should set them free at death and set them free according to their wish. And as you set them free, think of their children, think of their wife, think of the people they're leaving behind. Instead of wasting a lot of money making parties, big parties over somebody who is dead, yet his family, maybe they're still having bills of his hospital bills, his children have no school fees, maybe they don't even have a house to live in, maybe, that money, you go now and contribute it, put it together and give to the family. And when you set this person free according to how he wants, like this one wanted to be set free in the sea, to be burnt and then to be set free in the sea, that is when his soul leaves you. Because as his ash, his crushed bones were still in his son's house, he was still hovering around. That is when you find that when you're sleeping, you're dreaming about him. That means he's still around. But once you set him free where he wanted to be set free, you even feel the breeze. Even me, I just felt it. Like the way he's going and the waves are going, and suddenly this clay pot just starts crashing and it's just going down. You feel this wind of freedom. The guy is actually free and free to go and do other things, and free to have his soul move into another body somewhere else, wherever. It's very rare to dream about him after that. It's very rare to have like, what do you call it? These all, what do you call these things? Hauntings that we go through when you look at somebody's body the whole day and then you sleep that day, he's still there. All those things, they don't happen. And he didn't want his name to be written anywhere in any garden that so and so died on this day, so and so will be buried in this day. He wanted to leave the world. Once he's dead, he's dead. He doesn't want to have any attachment to this world. And that is why the family also say they're not going to create any stones anywhere in any garden written his name. He has lived his life until he was 91. He lived well. Everything was settled before he died because they hit the nail on the head. They used to talk to him and ask him what he wishes, what he wants this to be done, how he wants this to be done, as long as he still had his head. And once he started losing his memory, the main people in his life started deciding for him, okay? But the main things they're already written down, which is how he wants to be buried, actually, and how he wants his things distributed. And some of them, he even distributed them before he died. Because, like I told you, they don't lie. They hit a spade. When somebody is very sick, like his daughter died before him, and he had suffered cancer for 10 years. I think I once shared this with you, but that one haunted me. I also went to that funeral. So his daughter had suffered with cervical cancer for 10 years. So on her last Christmas, he told his family that this time if cancer comes back, I want to enjoy my life. I want my hair to remain the way it is. I don't want anything apart from painkillers. Don't even try to do me chemotherapy. Don't. I just want to die in peace, but after enjoying my life. So when cancer came back, because cancer comes back, baby. Cancer normally comes back, no matter how. Once cancer comes into you, even if it goes how, it will always come back. So this lady lived with it for 10 years. And so in the 11th year, she refused to have chemotherapy. But of course, she was isolated. That is the daughter of this same man. she was isolated in the hospital room because any infections that came from the outside, like if I went to visit her and I brought, maybe I had a cold or whatever, then it would pain her. And she wanted to die, but die a painless death, okay? So she used to say, I'm sorry to say, but she used to say that chemotherapy is making her sick, and she's suffered it all these years, and they'd say she's cancer-free, and then cancer comes back again. So she doesn't want any pains. She just wants to die in a peaceful manner. So she was waiting for cancer to eat her up slowly, but then she used to get painkillers and live isolated in this hospital room. So we visited her anyway. And then on the day that now she knew she was going to die, she took her phone, her smartphone, and wrote a message written "Tschüss." That is to mean bye-bye in German. And she forwarded this message to her whole family and friends. I even got the message. And so, you know me, I was wondering, what is this? So I asked somebody and I was like, hey, I've gotten a message from this lady and she's written "Tschüss." And I was told that she died 1 hour ago. So that is how the lady died. And her, during this last 3 months that she lived without chemotherapy in hospital and stuff, she organized her funeral. She said because she only has one son, she doesn't want her son to see her lying dead. She doesn't want her son to see her lying dead. She wants her son to live a free life. And she wants to be burnt after her family are done with her. They should burn her and then buy a tree in the forest, buy it with her money, and then put her ash, something like this one of his father, dig under that tree, somewhere in front of that tree, dig it up, put it in there, cover it, and then write her name there. But that forest should be a very far forest that her son is not accessible to. But at the same time, they should make a photo and know the direction to that tree in case her son grows up and becomes an adult and now wants to see where the mother was buried. Then he can trace that tree and go and find it. So that is what the family did. They bought a tree, to buy a tree, like to sponsor a tree, and then they did everything that she wanted, and they went with a name shield, like something like this, and it's written her name and her date of death and date of birth, and it was put on the tree like on this light like this. So the tree, not a big tree, a small tree. So the tree keeps growing. By the time the son will be maybe 30 years old or 40 years old and ready to go and see where the mother was, he'll find the tree very much there and untouched and very healthy. So that is how she wanted it. She wanted that because she said she doesn't want her soul to haunt her son or to haunt anybody. She wants to be set free. But she doesn't want to be thrown on the sea because she wants her son to get her. Okay, but this one who was buried in the sea is somebody who is old and has nothing else to lose. So he wanted to set everybody free and to set himself free and just be free from everything. So I found, and the whole budget of the whole funeral since the day the guy died until yesterday's burial only cost these people 2,500 euro, which is like 250,000 only. So I was wondering, and these are people who are very successful, people who are rich, people who have everything in this world that they need. So I was wondering, why do we as Africans, as Luos, as Kenyans, why do we always exaggerate things? Why do we go even ahead to make even our people suffer in the name of loving them at death? With that, I'm saying, I've seen a lot of funerals where a grave is dug, a grave is dug, and then they're still wasting money putting tiles inside the grave. Tiles like in my kitchen here. These tiles, these white things over here. These white stuff here. The tile that you put on the floor. They're still going to put it. How do you close your person in a casket? A very expensive casket that cannot like decompose fast. You know, a dead person, that is already dust bin. That is human waste. Okay? So there's no reason why, unless you hate a person very much, and if you've done that, I'm so sorry for you, but not for me, I don't want that. So if you've ever done that, you better talk to your family and tell them never to do that again. You may think that you want to show your neighbors and the guests and to show love to the dead by putting all these tiles in their graves and plastering it and making it, and then putting the person who is dead there with the casket, covering it again with smithy and bricks and closing him there. How do you want him to decay? Do you know that by closing him there is when you want to make him suffer more, because the body is going to be wet inside of this expensive casket, in this suit you've bought him, in these shoes you've buried him in, all these maggots that are going to eat him inside there will never find space to come out, because even outside already it's tiles. You should bury somebody in a normal hole with matope, normal natural grave. Dig up a grave, buy a cheap casket that is easier to decay, that can get kaput very fast. Put him in there so he gets free very fast. So he joins the soil very fast. And so one day, even if somebody wants to dig up that same place, maybe build a house wherever, then you'll just find that he had already decomposed very well and that place is dry and there's only bones. But if you want to put your person whom you love, who has already suffered in this world, he's in the air outside here and watching how you're even punishing him more. That is when you keep getting dreams. Do you get me? I was being explained to these things yesterday with this pastor, that German pastor, the one who has the license to bury people. And he was explaining this to me and telling me that, people don't understand. They think it is love by wasting more money to even give the dead person a harder life. Then they think it's love. Oh, Alizikwa, he was buried in a very nice grave. Nice grave, my foot. The grave should be as simple as possible and the casket should be as cheap as possible. Easier to break, easier to decompose, easier for the person's body to decay fast and go away. Do you get me? But if you want to go and put a guy in a golden casket so that people can say, oh, his casket was full of gold and what about the body? This body you are putting in a nice suit in here. This body you are putting on makeup. This body you are wearing high heels for. How is it going to decompose? Are you happy sleeping somewhere and knowing that your mother or your father is suffering with maggots, smelling tutus and everything inside that grave outside of your house, and you are busy sleeping and you're busy eating meat and you're busy enjoying, thinking you've given your mother a good burial? Change, my people, change. Waste that money, put that money, invest that money in the people that are still alive, in foundations, in orphans they are taking care of. But give these people the fastest burial, because when they die, it means they want their freedom. They gave up life because they wanted to be set free. Set them free. The more you still hold on to them in the mortuary and still raising money on Facebook and doing this and doing this, you're wasting their time. You're giving them even more pain because they're watching, they're hovering around here. Their souls are hovering and they're wondering, what am I still doing here? Why is my body, why are they not setting me free? It's only they cannot talk. They cannot tell you loudly. They will try to come into your dreams, but you will not understand it. They'll be wondering, why are they still screaming? Who is this screaming here? Who is this crying over me? Can't they just set me free? So, don't worry about the carpenters. Worry about the people you love. Me, if I die, please put me in something that I'm, even in a pot, and bury me in there, or burn my body so that I don't have to decay and be eaten by maggots like that. Burn my body, and then if you want, then you can take that ash of mine or my bones and now go and put it in a grave, in a garden where if you want to see me every day. You don't have to throw me in a sea. But you can take that pot with my ash, that small thing that you've been given with the rest of my remains that you want, and go and dig a small hole somewhere in my home, put it in there, and then set me free. But this issue of wasting time, wasting money, putting bills, and then thinking that now I love it, dead people don't love anything. They are free, they've gone. They just want you to now say bye and leave them in peace. That is why we say rest in peace. You can't be saying rest in peace and you're still holding on to somebody. You can't be saying rest in peace and you're still crying. You can't be saying rest in peace. How will they rest in peace? do it like the Muslims do, or like they do it with a reason. The Indians, they burn the bodies. Why? With a reason. So that even if God wanted to burn them, already they've felt the pain of burning. Already they are burnt already. So now God can even take it easy. The Muslims are even here, some of them even just wrap the body well and then put it like that in the grave. They don't even have to put it in a casket. They're easier to decay. It's easier that way. As long as you remove the things that are inside, these intestines and stuff. I hope you're getting me. It's just to set the people free as fast as possible. Party after you've set them free. So anyway, you guys, just wanted to put this sense to you and to share this story with you guys. I learned a lot yesterday and I felt it, and I actually loved it, and I didn't dream of this person, and I felt like he is happy wherever he is. He's happy. His dream came true, his wishes came true, and now he's flying with the angels out there knowing that his family loved him more than anything. But we are all busy with our lives. We are all busy struggling out there. Life is hard. And just thank God if you're alive, okay? So let me play for you Pokna. That's a song that I love. And Pokna just simply means my talent, okay? Just like me, my talent. So Pokna by Opiyo Kijana. Lately, I really love Opiyo Kijana. His songs are still in my heart, kind of, okay? So I'll play for you Pokna by him, and then we call it a day. May God bless you guys. Bye.
Hii ni mdundo kutoka Wasi Records na kati ya Deno. Kabunyo kok chweto chieng bende rieny, ng'ama konya bende onge. Sakano mino dongo wuok abonyo kok chweto chieng bende rieny, ng'ama konya bende onge. Sakano hana siko kalema lema ka ombo wuothowa mondo kweth Pokna. Sangoma hana siko kalema lema ka ombo wuothowa mondo kweth Pokna. Ubongo nyakalaga otimo kinda okowit toge. Tokare ubongo nyakalaga otimo kinda okowit toge. To Ruoth Nyasaye ne miyaga Pokna ni monda mor godo ganda donge tina moro piny ngima. Jehova Nyasaye ne miyaga Pokna ni monda chiem godo zakano tina chiemo. Tongero moro na winjo jodongo goyo piny ka kidaga minga to chieng' ine. Tongero moro na winjo jodongo goyo piny ka kidaga minga to chieng' ine mathoth. Adiera piny kae to tinda nene mathoth. Wale murale manyikwara mogi Nyasaye nitie. Adiera piny kae to tinda nene mathoth. Wale murale manyikwara mogi Nyasaye nitie. Atokare ubongo nyakalaga otimo kinda okowit toge. Atokare ubongo nyakalaga otimo kinda okowit toge. Ruoth Nyasaye no miyaga Pokna ni monda mor godo ganda donge tina moro piny ngima. Ruoth Nyasaye ne miyaga Pokna ni monda chiem godo zakano tina chiemo maber. Tongero moro na winjo jodongo goyo piny ka kidaga minga to chieng' ine. Tongero moro na winjo jodongo goyo piny ka kidaga minga chieng' ine mathoth. Adiera piny kae to tinda nene mathoth. Wale murale manyikwara mogi Nyasaye nitie. Adiera piny kae to tinda nene mathoth. Wale murale manyikwara mogi Nyasaye nitie. Takinda into tia tia Takinde makeyo Janya upendo ketokore Nodwa no kweta tokoti mate Takinda into tia tia Takinde makeyo Atokare ubungu nyakalaga Otimo kinda oko witzoge Atokare ubungu nyakalaga Otimo kinda oko witzoge Watja kumtilongo kama nangoyo Topoko no miwa giruot nyasaye mane polo malo Watja kumtilongo kama nangoyo Topoko no miwa giruot nyasaye mane polo malo Atokare ubungu nyakalaga Otimo kinda oko witzoge Atokare ubungu nyakalaga Otimo kinda oko witzoge Tongero moro na winjo dodongo goyo Pinka kida kaminga Tuchingine Tongero moro na winjo dodongo goyo Pinka kida kaminga Chingine matoto Adiera pinka ito tina nene matoto Wale murale mani kwara mugi nyasaye nitie Adiera pinka ito tina nene matoto Wale murale mani kwara mugi nyasaye nitie Janya upendo ketokore Nodwa no kweta tokoti mate Takinda into tia tia Takinde makeyo Janya upendo ketokore Nodwa no kweta tokoti mate Takinda into tia tia Takinde makeyo
Tiki, ale, tiki. Yoka bango na mayena, tiki, mama, tiki. Bobe malundama, kitu mepotea kwa nyumba walisema tuende kwa muganga. Muganga nasema, bela kulete walete pombe. Pombe ya kwanza anakunwa, pombe ya pili anakunwa, pombe ya tatu anakunwa, pombe ya ine muganga nalewa. Twende, anaanza kutapika. Anasema nivuye kesho. Sisi tumetoka muganga. Jamba yeye muganga. Sote twende. Simba penda. Ni mimi kifakio kombo kanto City Council. Atumetoka muganga. Jamba yeye muganga. Jamba muganga.
May God bless you guys, and I hope to find another nice topic to share with you soon. Bye.